Participating regularly in physical activity has been shown to benefit an individual's health and well-being. Regular physical activity is important in reducing the risk of chronic diseases, such as heart disease and stroke, obesity, diabetes, and some forms of cancer. The National Physical Activity Guidelines for Adults recommends at least 30 minutes of moderate-intensity physical activity, preferably every day of the week, to obtain health benefits.
Peer checking is a very useful and productive way of developing your reviewing skills. When you read your friend's work, you are assuming the role of the reader and the teacher. If your friend's work is well written, then it will be fluent and easy to read, and you will have no problems understanding the overall content.
The Bermuda Triangle is a mythical section of the Atlantic Ocean roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, where dozens of ships and airplanes have disappeared. Unexplained circumstances surround some of these accidents, including one in which the pilots of a squadron of U.S. Navy bombers became disoriented while flying over the area. The planes were never found. Historically, what has been used to estimate bats has been photographic estimates, visual estimates, mark recapture estimates, and those have been highly prone to bias. Newer technology, like thermal imaging cameras, is accurate but expensive. So, at a time of epic bat mortality due to, for example, the fungal white nose syndrome that's wiping out bats in Canada and the U.S.
YouTube has banned videos that show people how to manufacture or modify guns and their accessories. It had already banned videos linked to the sale of guns and accessories. Many firearms enthusiasts noticed that some of their videos had been removed from the video sharing website, and some had their channels suspended.
We acknowledge all the information and memory notes provided by students. We also acknowledge open source from various books and journal articles. All questions and answers are prepared and annotated by the Australian Institute of Language. All rights reserved, not for any commercial purposes, but for personal study only.
The definition of a disaster varies by organization. Various entities have different pain thresholds that define when an incident becomes a disaster. A bank, for example, will have different criteria than a poison control hotline. With this fact in mind, any organization should begin the process of implementing first alert and response teams after it has completed a business impact analysis.
So, as much as this is a book about the experience of traveling, the contemplation of cities that are vast in scale, and villages that are as remote and strange as anything Westerners are ever likely to encounter, it is also a book that tries to describe another kind of journey. Some of the pain patients may become hooked, or their meds may find their way to friends or relatives who take them recreationally. Or a prescription opioid user may transition to heroin. Heroin is just another opioid drug, so the brain doesn't distinguish whether it comes from a pharmacy or from a street drug dealer.
Major breeding areas and breeding islands are shown as dark green areas or darts. Open darts are shown no breeding records on islands and are also used for offshore sightings, that is from ships or boats. Other areas where species are not meant to be seen are plain pale green, with pale green hatching where records are usually sparse.
The majority of early pictures in the gallery's care are by unknown artists, and fundamental questions, such as when, where, and why they were painted, still remain to be answered. Through the application of scientific methods, this has potential to unlock key that will allow us to determine answers to these questions. It has been 200 years since the birth of Karl Marx, but the German philosopher's relevance has never been greater. The publication of Marx and Friedrich Engels' The Communist Manifesto in 1848 was not greeted with great fanfare or reception unbecoming what is now considered the most influential political pamphlet of all time.
This study tracked about 1,000 adults in the United States, and they ranged in age from 34 to 93, and they started the study by asking, "How much stress have you experienced in the last year?"